gonna get close to something you don't see a whole lot of. This is the 2007 Land Rover LR3 HSE. Under the hood of the LR3, you're going to find Land Rover's 4.4-liter V8 engine. Now, this engine is based on the Jaguar 4.2-liter V8, which has been an unbelievably dependable engine, hence the reason they went with the same architecture. It's bored out a little bit more for a little bit more torque. This is mated to a 6-speed automatic, which is in turn routed to a full-time all-wheel drive system. Land Rovers are legendary as far as off-road prowess and capability. Some of you may know I did used to manage a Land Rover store, and I drove a lot of Land Rover demos. I actually had one of these for myself for about 6 months, and I was pleasantly surprised. It's probably one of my favorites because of that. At the time I've spent, but for 7 passengers, and as far as the technology and equipment you get in this truck, there's nothing else like it. Let's take a walk around because there's a lot to see. Let's take a walk around it. This is the HSE model. These are fully loaded. This is the highest level model. There's only a couple options you can get on it, but you do have adaptive xenon headlamps up front. They will steer with the car as you drive at night, along with the front park sensors, as you do have front and rear park assist. But I mean, this front end is in excellent condition. 19s on here. These are part of the HSE package. This is the standard HSE wheel. You got a Wrangler HP Goodyear wheel on here. 255 55 R19. But take a look down the side. The trim, the reflection in the paint. It's Java black over what they call alpaca leather. But it's a one-owner car. You can tell it definitely has been very well cared for. No dings, dents, or anything like that. Coming around to the rear, you can see the proper badging, V8 HSE model, rear park sensors on the lower part there. It is a clamshell tailgate design, which we'll show you. You can see on the roof there, there's a little bubble on the top, and that is your navigation and satellite radio receiver. But looking down the passenger side, the condition's uniform all the way down. It's a clamshell design here. Got kind of an interesting tailgate design here. You got a low lift-in height. This is on the access setting, so it is on the lowest suspension setting. It is height adjustable. But it is a 7-passenger vehicle as well. You're normally going to be putting the 7 seats up from the front, but if you pull this right here, pops these up, and then on your ingress from the front there, you just pop the seat cushion in place. Very, very simple. Take a look across these front seats. I mean, they're in phenomenal condition. There's virtually nowhere. I mean, I can't really point anything out along here. You do have dual power seats here with memory for the driver, but the step-in, knowing it's on the access height, I actually dropped myself down into it. You have a tilt and telescope steering wheel and visibility that if you've ever really been in a Range Rover, it parallels nothing. You can see virtually everything. You can see the whole plane of the hood, you can see the edges of the car, and then the visibility with these low-cut windows. It's fantastic. Just to give you an overview of the overall layout of the Land Rover. Very clean, nice, legible gauges. There's an automatic setting for the adaptive xenons up front. Voice activation. Radio tune 97.9 FM.
Radio tune 97.9 FM.
Pretty cool. Above that, you're going to find the factory navigation system. Now, this screen incorporates some other cool stuff too. I'll show you on-road, off-road navigation, but 4x4 info. This is pretty neat because when you're actually off-roading, it shows you all the articulation angles. You can actually see how the suspension will move with the car. This little button here is for the terrain response, which we'll show you in a little bit. But it does allow you to to better communicate with the truck in off-roading maneuvers. And I have taken these on extensive off-road trips. They're unbelievable. Can't believe you can fit 7 people and squeeze these things on the side of a mountain through little trees, and kind of nuts. Below that, DSC's Dynamics Stability Control. This is the override for your park distance control. So anytime you pop in reverse, it's going to pop right on. See right there. Below that, Harman Kardon Logic 7 sound system. This does have satellite radio, but you have a 6-disc in-dash changer right here. This is a phenomenal stereo, 550 watts, and the greenhouse in this really makes it sound awesome. Below that, dual zone climate control, heated seats for the front occupants. You do have a heated windscreen. If you hit this button here, it's actually going to turn on the defrost, and there's tiny little elements in the window. You can't see them through the camera, but it's like it's almost like little defroster strips that go right through the glass. So that's pretty neat. Right here you're going to find the shifter for the 6-speed automatic. Just drop it and drive like any other automatic. Pop it into the left gate to go into sport mode. It's going to allow the engine to rev higher before it shifts. And then you can also manually shift it, pull back to downshift, push forward to upshift if you so choose. Behind that, this is Land Rover's terrain response system. Now this is probably the most advanced form of traction control you're going to find in any vehicle. You turn it once, you go to the grass, gravel, and snow setting. Obviously pretty self-explanatory. This one is called mud ruts. It's going to suggest you go into the low range, which is your high and low transfer case over here, because that is really probably something where you're going to need the extra torque to dig you out. Sand, this allows the traction control to actually allow a lot more wheel spin. It also amps the throttle response. If you put the car in sand, even if you're driving it down the street, the throttle will feel entirely different than the other modes. And then you've got rock crawl. Now rock crawl will not engage until I put it in the low range mode, and then it's going to forcibly put the active suspension, it's going to raise the truck all the way up to the off-road setting, which is pretty significant. We'll show you that here in a second. Inside the LR3 again, rear seats step in, it's perfect. Stadium style seating. I'm actually sitting higher than the front occupants, and there are 3 rows of glass in the roof of this. You got a power moonroof up front, but you have 2 glass roofs right above me, and I have a mesh shade I can throw right back there. But I do have heated seats for the outboard occupants here, as well as rear air conditioning, which is easy to customize for anybody that's sitting back. This is the configuration with all the seats folded. You really have a high roof line here, so cargo capacity's got to be amazing in here. It's one of the best I know of. But like I said, this third row is really livable for a full-size adult. Let me go ahead and pop it up here, just as we did before. I'm going to flip this back. That'll lock back in place. Normally you just step right in. That'll tumble forward. I mean, I've got more than enough room here. When these flip up, I have sat back here. At a price of $56,000, this car's no small chunk of change when it's new. And at that price, even with all this equipment, you're still going to expect a luxury experience. This is probably one of the nicest riding trucks out there. Land Rovers tend to ride a little harder than most. You know, the Mercedes GL is going to have a little softer ride than this, but I prefer cars of a more sporting nature, so I actually prefer it. But I mean, this is as comfy as can be. Watch, we'll hit the speed bumps. These cars are so solid. I don't know if you've ever been in a Discovery. I guess they still call this a Discovery across the pond, but I mean, hitting speed bumps, that's pretty awesome. Talk about refinement. You got active suspension, height adjustable, great navigation system. I always say this is my favorite, and I don't know if it's just because it's probably the one I've spent the most amount of time with, but it's so simple to use. And when you put all of the, like here, the 4x4 info, if I give it a good enough turn, you'll actually be able to see the tires steer with the car, which is kind of neat. We're essentially on the highway, and I mean, it's really comfortable. Like I said, you know, when you spend this amount of money on something, you really want to expect some luxury, and it's what you get. But just cruising along, you know, 60 miles an hour, you're as comfortable in this as you would be in any of the other Land Rovers. It's quiet, it's very refined, it's very smooth in what it does. It's got a transparent four-wheel drive system and a nice suspension for long-distance traveling. Almost forgot. This is the same engine, transmission, driveline that you get in the full-size Range Rover, even if you get one today. They are super smooth, super quiet, very, very refined, and I mean, I don't know what more technology you can pack into a truck at this level. That terrain response, the navigation system's phenomenal, Harman Kardon sound, great lights, great accommodations, 3 roofs, heated front and rear seats, automatic climate control, all that stuff. I mean, I could go on for a long time trying to point out more wonderful things about this truck, but it never ceases to amaze me. It's been a while since I've driven one. 2 great pieces of info here. I've got the Carfax and AutoCheck vehicle history report. Both say 1 owner, no issues. Car show's excellent. Just a handful of registration renewals, as always for us. I also have the Land Rover window sticker here that does show that the original MSRP on this car was $56,500. That includes the luxury package, which does include a cooler box style refrigerator in the console. I didn't point that out. And Java black paint and Sirius radio. But I mean, it's a ton of truck. That goes without saying. You do have the balance of Land Rover's 4-year, 50,000 mile factory warranty. That does remain with the car. But check out a whole ton more pictures of this car on our website. You'll find us at chicagocarsdirect.com, or check out our YouTube highlight reel. You'll find our YouTube channel, youtube.com/chicagocarsdirect. Thanks for getting to know the Land Rover LR3 HSE. We'll see you next time.